What's going on, my Aries collective? Welcome to your general creative energy forecast. This is timeless, so may it meet you whenever you need, and so on. So, for the fire signs, now a lot of the themes that were coming to me from the for the other signs came from a kayak trip, which was just a day trip to a conservation area, but. Similar to the other signs, you had a very interesting one. Now, yours was about the refraction of an energy. So it was sort of looking at motion in the elements, right? Motion in the elements, and particularly refraction kept coming up. Just like it's like sometimes a word will get stuck in my head, almost like a song, right? So this is really important. So it's really important because it was the way your energy was moving through obstacles and challenges right now. So the light refracted, just meaning like it represents the movement of energy in the movement of energy in reflection. So it changes the direction. So technically, so I wrote down the technical definition as I shake the crap out of the camera here. Um, the technical definition is a change in a direction of a wave from one medium to another caused by its change in speed. So that was just the basic definition that I found around Google. But it was looking at the way that, so I'll use this as an example. So if this is where the surface of the water starts, for example, and there's air here, refraction is where the light will come through this way. Okay, oh, my hand's shaking a little bit because it's pushing on the nerve. So the light will come through this way, and then as it hits the surface of the water, it will slow down and change direction. So instead of it being a straight line through like this, right? Instead of it being a straight line through like this, it will be a more of an angle. You'll see the angle show up like this. Oh my God, this is like the worst example, but it'll show up at a different kind of angle, right? So it will show up like that as opposed to straight through. So it'll show up in like a way that it sort of bends it a little bit, and it slows it down in the process. And it's interesting that the Seven of Cups was on top, because that's kind of what I felt for you, was just this way that it was like slowing down. I want to say like slowing down to be able to observe the reflection. And like it's almost like the energy that I was seeing for you was that it wasn't the light coming through, it was like a reflected energy coming through. So like letting a mirror in, and Leo and Sag got different energies together. So do check those out too, because I feel like they kind of connect together. Leo's was more like slowing down to the speed of thought, or slowing down the speed of thought, or life at the speed of thought. And then Sag was more the elemental inspiration for the way that joy speeds up and slows down. So they're all connected. But for you, Aries, I got that it was like the reflection was really important. So we are going to hop right in. We're going to hop right in. These readings have been really interesting so far. But yeah, Spirit, what messages do you have for my Aries collective, please? My Aries collective. This one seems important. Adventure and South. Adventure and South. That one kind of came popping out at me. Darkness and Moon. So for the fire signs, I'm compelled to add a card. I haven't been doing this for all of the readings, so you're the lucky winner. Mystery and Dark Matter. Okay, so we have Adventure and South. That's super interesting. There's a reader that was doing North and South node readings. Very cool. Adventure and South. Yeah, it's Awakening to Spirit. It was really cool. I highly recommend checking it out. The reading of Aquarius, I was like, it's like the room got so damn quiet, like you could hear a pin drop. It was so wild. It's because my North Node is in the 11th house, so I was like, whoa. So check that out. But I feel like this maybe is connected to Mission and Path. It's almost like remembering something about the past that brings you joy. Maybe you have something to do with Sag or Leo in your chart. Could just be fire in general, but nonetheless, there's like a remembrance. There's like a remembrance. and it's not really a longing. This is further to the reflection. It's almost like I see with this, the moon and dark matter. It's almost like the void. Like there's like this void that is birthing something. So it's almost like the opposite of a black hole. Like not the opposite of a black hole. That's silly. But the way that the energy is coming through is like what's on the other side of a black hole. So what absorbs and then what like spits it out on the other side. Sound effect absolutely necessary. But like what is that energy, right? What is the energy that spits it out on the other side? And I feel like there's something like maybe you're being spit out on the other side of something. Like there was a great deal of uncertainty. And that's kind of you in that place of searching, this liminality where you're like, where the heck, what the heck, how the heck? And then it's like you almost feel like silenced or quieted. You feel kind of quieted. And it's like this this way that I almost feel like this old you. Now I used this came up in another reading. I don't remember which one. But there was something that I saw online. This is possibly disgusting, but it's super cool science, where butterflies will actually eat a decomposing corpse of an animal if there are insufficient flowers or nectar around. And I almost think of it as like when people go to get like pedicures and they have these like I've seen this, I've never experienced it, but they have like those bins of leeches and fish or whatever that just pick the dead skin off, and it's almost like this process of shedding skin, but there's like spirit is helping, and that's how you're being spit out on the other side. That's how you're being spit out on the other side of what may have felt like a black hole that was just like just like pulling you. But then it's like in the reflection you see this other, like there's a way that you're seeing yourself now that clears up a lot of different things for you. Like it's almost like a freedom that you're gaining, like a refreedom, like remembering freedom. And it's a way that you're able to integrate joy now because you are where you are. And it's like there's a sense of adventure that informs where you are. But I feel like this is so north and south node related. I can't help but see that. So let us dive in here, and I'm going to pull into this one here because that's Spirit. What additional messages do you have for my Aries collective, please? Aries. No place like home. Yeah, and then peace was on the bottom. I feel a little bit like there's a way that you might have been feeling adrift, or like you were looking for that aspect of peace. You were looking for that. This could be home that you find in like externally, like external physical homes, or it could also be I almost see this as like a weird hermit that's coming through, like this wisdom of home, the wisdom of the home space that is like it's holding up a light to you and for you. Like it's holding up a light, holding up a candle, holding a candle. How do I word this, Spirit? The energy is coming through really interestingly because it's like maybe, it could be like finding home and sanctuary somewhere. And when you see it, it will seem really obvious because it stands out so much, but it may not have been as obvious to begin with because you weren't looking for it. You were like on this journey, and you were on this, like, being spit out by this sort of black hole energy where you were like, well, I need to be doing this. And you were doing this, but then somehow like this sense of home and sanctuary came to you. This feels really, I've said it before, like I don't know how I feel about it because I don't have enough information on it to make a solid decision. So I will say I have loose opinions about the twin flame journey, but this does feel a chunk like it with the mission and things like that. Like there are so many the reason my only issues are that I don't know how to conceptualize it and how to see it, because there's, evolutionary astrology talks about it being north and south node related. And then from the other things I've looked at, Jupiter and Chiron placements and how they conjunct each other can indicate something along those lines as well in terms of soulmate energy or twin flame. But then I've also heard that it's Saturn placements as well as MCIC. So it's like I've heard that there's different ways that we can conceptualize it, but it's also just this knowing, right? So where do we leave room for the knowing in that? And that's just my I guess my issue. So it's not really a big issue, and it's not really a complaint to like or anything like that, but it feels like there's some kind of mission that you're on. There's some kind of mission that you're on, and you weren't expecting to see this. Like you were just doing your thing, but it's almost like the way that this aspect of transformation in Pluto like it's almost like and see the blue in here too, the blue flame I've been meditating with, and then I didn't realize that that was also twin flame related. So that's interesting because it just started coming to me in meditation. But I'm hearing eclipse. Like there may be some way that there is something to do with the eclipses this year, Taurus and Scorpio. Even if you don't have them in your placements, they could aspect significant things in your chart. But it's almost like you moved. Maybe it was a dark night of the soul that you went through, and like on the other side of this black hole that it's like you were kind of pulled into. There's just this. There's a whole journey. Like you see this whole world open up to you, this whole world open up to you, and it's helping you to reframe the past, but it's helping you to see it in a way that shows and demonstrates the mastery over it, and not over it, but like with it, your mastery with it, and it's integrating the past. And that's what I feel like this is, given the reflection, right? And it's like the energy changes. The energy changes fundamentally when you see that reflection of yourself. And again, twin flame journeys are a lot about reflection, and I hadn't made that connection to the meditation of this one in particular until after the fact, like literally right now. That's interesting just because it's mirroring, right? And technically sacred partnerships could be like that as well. So it's just balancing perspectives. I'm just offering this up. But nonetheless, I feel like there's a way that you find almost like, I'm hearing North Star. I mean, there's like South and North Node, but it's almost like this North Star that you hadn't been in, and then 1111 was just on the time. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Alrighty. Spirit, what messages do you have for Aries, please? Messages for Aries. Opportunity beckons. Yeah, I feel like that's where you're at now. Like this is like post journey. This is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups. I mean, it could also be like, that's a higher, it's almost like a Neptunian reading of the Four of Cups, where it's the higher octave of Venus and love, where it's the integration. Instead of boredom, it's more of the sense of, it's a greater sense of, okay, how am I working with this and what now? Like, it's like seeing the higher octave of boredom or, disillusionment. Yeah. Base chakra, Shiza. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I also had a dream last night. And my dreams are so wild sometimes. Like they're so interesting, but they're so deep and like the vivid detail. This may be relevant for some folks. Last night I had a dream, and actually Christina Lopes was in the dream, and she was showing me, and we were talking about energy centers. That the rest of the details are fuzzy. We had like this massive conversation, and I remember like the bookending energy of it. Like there was a start and end to it, and part of the way through, I saw we talked about energy centers, and she should like. It's almost like she pulled my energy centers out so that I could see them in front of me. And I was looking at all of them. And the root one was the one where there were like all these different like blockages in them. And I hadn't been able to recognize it, which is not untrue. Like we're all a work in progress. And it's like there were some blocks in the root one. And it was almost like it wasn't flat because it hadn't collapsed, but it was just like you could see it like bouncing almost like a ball that was, I don't have any balls. Oh, forgive the like 5-year-old boy jokes. But here, I'll use my cat's mouse, or actually, I'll use my cat's mouse. Hang on. So I didn't ask her permission to use her toy, but we're going to. So it's like it was doing like if you flatten this, you can't really see it, but it's like how it flattens and then bounces back a bit. She's already like murdered this thing, but it's like how it would flatten and then bounce back. It was a useless example, but you get the idea. Let me try it with this earplug here that I use. So it's like if you flatten it, it's like it would bounce back, and it hadn't been flattened, but it was just like having that like elastic effect. And so it's like, and then I could see this like gold shimmer around it being healed and helped. And then interestingly, when I did a reading for myself this morning, there was all this gold card that came up here. And it really mirrored the gold dust energy that was in that particular dream, pointing me towards things with healing. Yeah, here it is. It was this card here. So it's like this gold dust of healing. So it's almost like I'm getting the energy that that you're doing some healing with this. You might be working with this. The reason why it just like was so loud, like it just, Maybe there is something to be healed in that direction. And I know too that like my energy tends to be more collectively oriented and pick up on things in the collective so strongly. So it could be that this is something that's happening collectively right now, like, and especially with no place like home, like a sense of home. What does home mean when things change and shift all the time? I tuned into the news very briefly, and I was checking the weather, and they had this little snippet of things happening in the UK, and it talked about how fires are raging in ways that they hadn't been before in Europe because of how hot it's been there. And it's almost like this sense of like ecological and environmental displacement that we might, like that some folks might face. So it like triggers this kind of root chakra thing, like this thread in the collective. And it's almost like I see it like a string, like those workout strings, those ropes that start to move like this. And the collective feels it. But then we don't really have words to articulate it, because how do you explain that feeling in so many other places in your center right now, right? So I don't know if that was something in the dream that came up because of that. The rest of the details were fuzzy. And in fairness, I was exhausted after working a 9-hour day. And then the day before that, I had a long day too. So, but nonetheless, yeah, there you are. There's your card, Aries. Lead. So release and lead. So we have death and you. We have death and the Emperor. It's maybe you're shedding some skin here. You're shedding a skin, but what I love about the death card here is that it almost represents, to me, that represents the death card, right? Let me do this so that you can see the cards a little better. There we go. That represents the death card to me, where these butterflies are like taking away this sort of excess layer, right, of almost energetic residue. Like they're taking that off of your auric bodies as you're progressing through whatever this energy is. And I feel like it's allowing you to step into your power. It's allowing you to step into your power and to see yourself as powerful, right? Like this is, again, reflection energy. It's like the energy changes and it shifts because the energy coming through may be going at a different speed. And I get the impression that there's like something about speed here, like it's happening fast, or it's kind of bending and twisting, like it's happening quickly but then not, and it's happening quickly but then not. So we have the 9 of swords, rest and reconsider. I feel like it's really important. Rest is so important right now for you, Aries. Whether it's like taking a day or two for you or doing self-care, whatever that means. Just making sure that you're tending to your energy in an intentional way. That's really the important part. Because I feel like it's not that it's like, there's not this sense of fraying, but it's almost like this elasticity. Like I feel like there's, and it's not even like a pressure, but I just feel like there's something that's making it almost like an accordion, but this way. And so it's like maybe it's accommodating, maybe it's expanding to accommodate more energy and light. That could be something as well. I'm hearing DNA upgrades. That could be a possibility, but it's like something's happening, and you could probably feel it. Like I feel like it's obvious when I say this. It will most likely be obvious to you what that is. Which deck do you want me to use, Spirit? This one, okay. What messages do you have for Aries, Spirit, just to clarify these cards? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was trying to read the cards in reverse, but I like to read them in the upright because intuitively it comes out regardless of, like it comes out if it's meant to be in a reversal, then it shows up in that way. So, opportunity beckons. So there's more butterfly analogies. Wow. There's a huge shift. And whether this is related to you or the collective, hang on, Spirit, can you tell me whether this is like a personal shift or more of a collective one that Aries is tapping into, please? Seven of Wands. Knight of Pentacles. So, is this collective or personal? I'm hearing both. That was helpful. So to clarify that, I pulled the Seven of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. A lot of fire energy here, which is in keeping with you. But I feel like the Knight of Pentacles is kind of this collective pace that might be kind of skewing your own energy. But the Knight of Pentacles I'm hearing is necessary because there's something about that energy that has that bounce to it. I'm going to do this so you can see the cards here. But it has that sort of elasticity to it. So maybe the pace is something that could be frustrating, but it's allowing for the transformation and for you to be clear. I see the Four of Cups in this sense as a lot of clarity. It could be some starseed energy. This reminds me of, I think it's like the Big Dipper. I have like a freckle here that like is almost identical to the placements, like the Giza pyramids and everything. But it's like, that's what it just kind of came to mind, because it could be, is it Sirius? I think it is something along those lines. Like it could be some kind of energy related to that. Ace of Cups is obviously like its most obvious interpretation is love, but this could be more of a love of humanity. This could be, I think it's almost like your heart opening up to this opportunity that's on your doorstep. Whether that's like romantic or what, I don't know. Given the twin flame inclination that I'm getting on this side of things over here, I don't know that it's romantic at first, because this again strikes me as very mission oriented, which is not like, I think that that's kind of what the basis that I believe of twin flame journeys is, that that's what that does. It's like it's here to move something forward, to shift some kind of tide, right? As opposed to being just about like that kind of bubbly puppy love kind of idea. So we have the, oh, that's an interesting energy. And then we have the Hierophant and more butterfly. Wow. Okay, so you have the Ace of Cups. So this, it's an opening of the heart, but then this is more, I'm getting this as being, it's an Eight of Swords, so it's more like rest energy, but it's like I'm getting this retreat energy. But I feel like the way that this is all coming out is like you might have retreated because it might have, I'm hearing disingenuous. Something might have felt disingenuous to you about some kind of journey. It might have made you want to protect your truth. Like I almost get that this is like you having to be very clever in a very complicated and nuanced situation to protect your truth. Because it was something that like people were just collecting truths. Like there was something maybe like collecting truths, or just, it made you feel, and it's not that yours had to be like some special thing. It was just that you had to guard yours because people were, I don't know if there was some kind of risk to it, or there was some way that it wasn't respected, or there was some way, maybe you weren't respected. Maybe there was something along those lines. Disrespected. Interesting. Oh, that's like one of my pet peeves. Oh. And it's so ridiculous. But there's something about you having to guard an aspect of yourself and protect it because of this Seven of Swords energy overall. So you had to be in kind of a fox energy where you were having to think on your feet and be very adaptable and clever, like very clever. And not in a trickster energy, but like clever in that you had to take care of yourself. And maybe there were a whole bunch of other energies you had to take care of simultaneously. And then this comes in and it's like this key. And I see this as almost being like Edison's light bulb moment, where I think it was Edison. Oh my gosh, when I'm channeling the information, that facts don't always come through as clearly as what's coming through intuitively. So forgive me, but the light bulb, the lightning hitting the light bulb, like there's some kind of force, like some kind of key that you're gaining access to. Could be Taurus placements, Taurian related. But I'm almost getting that this is this sort of awakening where you're able to see the big picture of things. And it's maybe awakening a sense of spiritual knowledge within you, right? Like there's a key that you have now that you didn't before. And the electricity is a reminder that you know what to do with it. Like there's a motion, right? The elements in motion. And I feel like that it could just be this like awakening, like a bloop, like a wake up, where again, like the energy going in shifts and changes direction, not overly, just subtly, but it changes speed. And that's where this Knight of Pentacles is telling me that there's like, it's like a slowdown, because you're on the right path, because the energy is doing what it's supposed to do. The energy is doing what it's supposed to do. The refraction of light. Yeah. And like representing the movement of energy in a reflection. This could be a period of reflection, but I'm almost getting that there's like, you're seeing reflections around you in people, situations, things. Maybe that's the activation for you, Aries, because I feel like this energy here, Roman numerals are so fun to me. A 6. So a 6 of wands. It's like, it's again, like a lot of this represents, this is success, but it represents like a moving away, like you're flying away, but not far. But again, like look at all of the butterfly analogies here. Like we have this, we have we have these two. It's like the stages of how the butterflies helped you. Maybe butterflies helped you through that period, or there was that like this unseen, I've said it before, Santero talked about the dragonfly collective. Maybe there's a butterfly collective for you that's like yours, right? That responds to your energy specifically. And I feel like it gives you, it's almost like you earn your wings therein, or these are different aspects of guides and messengers coming through. But I feel like this is more you. This is more you. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have on this root energy here, please? These readings have started to be longer than I intended, but I don't mind because the information is coming through. And specifically for this one, Aries, I feel like there's I'm hearing tender loving care. Like I really want to take my time because some of these messages have been really intense. And I haven't done long ones like this for the signs individually for a while, so I don't mind. More butterfly. Are you freaking kidding me? Two of Pentacles. Okay. So it's almost like I'm hearing home base. Like there's a way that you may have been kind of going between two, but there's an aspect of this that reminds me of the Magician. Infinity symbols might be really important to you because we have the infinity symbol here. We also have it here. Where else did I see it? That was it. Yeah, that was it. Okay. So it's almost like maybe there's an aspect of this, of infinity in this, like you can feel this and the butterfly effect rippling through infinity, through to infinity, where there's all of these different possibilities, but there's two ways that you can approach situations that are going to be of profound importance, and they'll become more apparent as you go through them. But this could just be also two anchors, like two ways that you're anchored. And this is another mirroring energy, right? Like this could be integration energy that helps to anchor you. So this is coming through interestingly and intuitively, like integration internally. So like an integration internally where you are, there's one aspect of you and then there's another aspect of you that are in union and talking to one another, but in a way that is grounded. So people might say like, oh, that's all 3D, but it's because there was this 5D integration, this like higher energy of integration coming through that is allowing this anchoring and this integrating in to everyone else. Spirit, what other messages do you have for Aries, please? Yeah, an anchoring, 6 of Cups. So it's almost like a tangible internal anchoring. Like this could be your energy center anchoring itself internally. And then externally, there's like this emotional balance that allows your heart center to take root. Not just in the world, but in itself. Like there's an anchoring instead of feeling like this abstracted way of referring to emotions or connecting to emotions. Spirit, what messages do you have for Aries? So we have the 4 of Wands. It's almost like the eye. That's like, it looks like a little bit of an eye. So the 4 of Wands here, it tends to represent stability. And I feel like this is maybe, you know what I'm seeing? That game Kerplunk. Where you'd have all the marbles on top and then gradually you'd pull thoughts, like not thoughts, but thank you, Spirit. It's coming through as thoughts, right? So like as you pull each stick, look it up. You can look it up on YouTube and like probably have different, like that was one of my favorite games as a kid until the noise came at the end. But like you pull these little threads and the marbles that had gathered on top then just come crashing to the bottom. And it's almost like that's what's happening with your energy, like with this grounding. Like all of the marbles on top were like maybe thought forms or beliefs that you had, or energy that was disconnected. Like it's almost like this energetic sense of gravity or gravitational pull. And then you have to, you've been pulling these thoughts apart gradually, piece by piece, right? Like you've been pulling them apart, and then the marbles on top are going to meet with and integrate in a grounded way. So that too, I mean, the 4 of Wands tends to represent stability, but what better kind of stability is that, right? Because it's starting at the level of thought and then it's anchoring into something more substantial. So maybe there was a loud bang or crash or something like that energetically. 9 of Cups came out. Wow. Yeah, that's it. It's like this sort of like, it's almost like a return energy. I'm hearing U, like there's like a U curve, and then I heard S curve. But there's like this way that it's, there's a way that what's the word? It's like not a coming together, coherence, resonance. I'm seeing these like waves, like energy waves. Oh, I'm not doing good air drawings. Allow me to do this in my notebook right now. It's like these energetic resonances where you see these two waves. So one of them looks like this. It's just a little squiggle, and then the other one is at like a totally different frequency, and then you see them start to harmonize together. Okay. I'm such a good artist, right? No, I'm kidding. I know that I'm creative in other ways, but that was like, so we have death and the emperor, death and the emperor, and we have the devil. It's Capricorn energy as well. Knight of Pentacles, the Tower, Death, and the Page of Cups. I feel like you're starting to see the stories about that you told about yourself really clearly, and I think that's what these reflections are helping to do. The devil tends to be stories that keep us from ourselves, the way that they comes forth to me in readings at least. So it's like the ways that we keep ourselves from ourselves, and it's almost like what was in the way. It's like there's this massive release that's taking place. That's allowing you to see yourself, but it's also allowing you to see others with greater clarity. But again, this Knight of Pentacles, that's the pace. It's like the energy slows down, and then it's like it shifts, and then in the reflection, it changes. So now that we're doing some little art here, it would look something like this, where the energy comes in this way, like on an angle, and then it changes so that it sort of like shifts downward, or you could even say it comes straight down and then it bends and goes another way. So it's like the energy's coming through like this, so it's coming in and then it bends, it's coming down and then it bends, but it's the slowdown. So this below the line here is like water, right? Like this is the water, and then this would be air. So it's going through two different elements, and it's the refraction. But what you could say too is that this line could represent the reflection of someone or your energy, and this could represent your energy and someone else's energy. So it's like it slows down when it meets, and it changes, but it's still based, it's still like on the same, based on the same thing. Oh, what on earth? But that's where this tower is. I think it's like the tower is the moment where it's like it starts to refract and reflect, because that's where this transformation starts to take place. This strikes me as like an activation of some kind. Just because of the fire and then the slow energy. Like it's like a fire, but slow. There's like a pace to it. Even over here, when I clarified fire energy, Queen of Wands, Seven of Wands, and it's like that. It's unassuming, I'm hearing. The Page of Cups is, to me, it's this heart-centered offering. Is its typical meaning, but I'm also getting that there's this way that you're able to stand outside of it. Like I saw here with this dream that I had with Christina Lopes, where it's like it's like I could see outside of myself. So maybe Aries, what's happening here is this inside this cup that's being offered, or that you're offering, is the contents of the reflection, right? So if you're thinking about it in terms of this here, it's like below here, this was under this line here was water, and then above it was air. So it's like maybe you're offering the cup that is water, but it's also the 5D, or alternative dimensionality of it could be that it's offering a part of this reflection of yourself, or someone is offering a reflection to you and you're able to see it. And I think that might be what's triggering this rest and reconsider. Knight of Swords. Yeah, it's because there's movement here. There's movement. All three? Okay. So we have the Knight of Cups. No, we have the Knight of Swords, which is air energy, on air energy. And then we have Sag. So we have Temperance. I feel like the rest is helping you to balance your energy. It's really helping you to balance your energy. Sagittarius. There could be, I haven't done the Sag reading yet, as I'm doing this one. So I'm starting with Aries, then I'm going to Leo, and then Sag. But this is, no, I'm hearing I'm going to do Sag next. Okay, so that works. But do watch the Sag reading, because there might be something in it that connects to this, or you could have Sagittarian placements with your Aries. I don't know. So again, this is the Five of Swords. So again, there's no Five of Swords here to begin with, but I almost read the Seven of Swords is quite closely related to the Five of Swords. I think the rest here is helping you to balance your perspective of yourself, but also balance the perspective of your fire and how you might have wanted it to expand or contract. And maybe this is that energy with the auras that I felt here, but it's like the way that you would feel it inside. It's helping to balance that. So what does rest mean to you? For me, sometimes it means going for hikes. Sometimes it's active rest. And then other times it's laying in bed with a book and having my downtime before bed. Like that helps to decompress my brain, right? Although I will say that it's very interesting with this energy here, like the grounding stuff that came up from Christina Loeb's most recent video talking about grounding at night and like nighttime rituals. So that could be something to help anchor your energy a little bit, Aries. I've been doing research on massage guns because my legs tend to get really tense and tight during the day, but just like grounding energy is what is coming through significantly, right? A lot of grounding energy. So, oh, and I'm wearing your shirt. I'm wearing your shirt. I didn't even realize. But the Five of Swords is like it's healing your perspective. It's you can heal your body. You can heal how you operate in your body. But I feel like it has to start mentally first. Like you have to put your brain on pause first. And I feel like what you can't see is a depth of connection. What you can't see possibly is a soulmate connection because you have to get this rest in order for that to be on the other side. And it's not like a reward. It's just something that you're going to be able to pay attention to. And it's not a proposition of do this or else. It's not like that, my lovelies. It's more so just what do you want? What do you want to experience? Do you want to experience this? Right. And then things will mobilize in that direction. But it's like, what do you want of that? Aries, this is an intense but awesome reading. Oh my goodness. I'm going to pull from this deck again here to begin to close this out for you. Spirit, what messages do you have for Aries to close out this reading, please? Messages for Aries. Creative energy, water. You could have some water placements. But I'm just seeing the reflection again. Water. There could be something about, something of importance about reflections and the way that you see yourself and others. And I'm hearing life sustaining. Like there might be a way that like you see the reflection in the water. You see it. But then there's also this way that you're made up of mostly water. So there's like the reflection that you see is the reflection of what you are. And there's something about this mirroring process. There's something about this mirroring process that is like it's having, I don't know, I'm hearing like a ripple effect. No pun intended. I mean, I wish I could say that I intended that. That's pretty clever. Thank you, Spirit. Electricity and wildness. Yeah, because when I saw that, like, what I didn't tell you was the ripple effect, and then I was like the tower effect, and that's like this here is the tower in this deck, and that's where it's like this electricity, right? This ripple effect, and I feel like it's like an activating energy. And you know, I was reading an almanac on break yesterday, and it was just talking about how like lightning travels at something like 277 million miles an hour. Yeah. And just like how fast that is. And that's where it's like it hits the surface of your energy, and then it's like it transforms and shifts, and that might have felt like this sort of black hole activation. And then that's like how it caused this reaction through your whole energy system. But then this is sort of like the shifting of that. I'm seeing like a spiral moving in one direction and then stopping and then starting to turn in the other direction as it heals, something along those lines. But there's like, it's almost like this groan that I heard that echoed through the contents of what was within that. So it could have been that black hole energy where it's like you could hear the contents within it groan, and then it starts to move in the other direction because something is healing and doing, like, it's like not firing on all cylinders. It's like directionally appropriate to where you need to go. It could also be something to do with timelines, right? Like, because now I'm seeing a watch going backwards. So it could be that time is either speeding up or slowing down. Something about your energy, though, is activating. something is activating here, because this is an ending. So it's a 9. This is a 9 card, and then we have the 9 of swords here as well. And then the 7 and the 2, there's a 9. There's a lot of like cyclical energy that's ending, but not a cycle that's like a pattern that you have. It's like something that's much bigger than that to do with your energy, Aries. Holy crap, what is happening? I'm going to pull the postcards from Spirit deck here. Pull from the postcards from Spirit deck. Spirit, what messages do you have for my Aries? This says, live your dreams. Live your dreams. Okay. Dearest you, over here, there's no mystery for us to unravel, as we know intimately how connected we all are, how the web of creation works, and how spirit is in every aspect of life, from the invisible to the visible. But it's impossible for humans to comprehend the complexities of how things actually work, because the most important threads in the tapestry don't make sense in the dimension you live in, which is basically this reading. That said, can you feel the importance of these currents of energy that bring events together in miraculous ways? You can't understand with your mind, but you can know with your heart and soul. Trust that even though you don't know the how, the what, or the why, we do. Surrender to the mystery and have faith that the unseen world is watching you with loving eyes as spirit weaves your life's mysterious and beautiful tapestry in glorious technicolor. Ain't that the truth? I'll read that again. Surrender to the mystery and have faith that the unseen world is watching you with loving eyes as spirit weaves your life's mysterious and beautiful tapestry in glorious technicolor. Loving you so much as always. Aries, that's your reading. I'm going to leave it here. This was amazing. I'm smiling because like this is like, it's big energy, but it also just feels like a depth of energy that it may not make sense right away, but there's so much that's unfolding here for you. So I guess like lean into saying yes, but like lean into the soft yes that accompanies a little bit of uncertainty, I suppose. That's what is here. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching, Aries. If this resonated, please give it a like and subscribe. It helps me to continue to grow this channel, and there are other ways you can connect with me too, so do check that out. But if this is where we part, my darlings, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope that it finds you very, very well, my lovelies. Take care.